How many members do you have?
Currently, we have 4. We're looking for more. We've tried to kidnap some, but that didn't work either. I'm hoping that once we start getting into the point of working on the town plan, which is still months away before we actually begin that process, there'll be a lot more interest when we get some more people to come in and either join the commission itself or come in to help with, being part of talking to people in the public and everything else about it.
Share any documents.
Where is the town in that process of the planning?
We've received a grant and we put out requests for proposals for consultants for the grant to help redo the plan and write it and help guide us through the process. So it's all done professionally. We meet the requirements, have the right proper amount of public input and hearings and advertising and all the pieces that go together with the public feedback part of it. So we're right now, that date closes tomorrow for people who send in proposals. And we're just talking right now, one of the first things in the agenda is that we're going to be trying to set up another meeting for this month so that we can review those and choose. And it won't be hard because right now we only have one written plan that's here. And choose whoever our consultant's going to be so that we can start moving forward with the preliminary process, which is meeting with the consultant in March and going over what the process and procedures would be to work with the consultant to actually start the process of writing the town plan. Currently, what we're doing is trying to adjust our zoning to meet the new state standards for the new state regulations that came out for housing, for the home plan and others. Because the town doesn't meet that in many places. And in order for somebody who would like to take advantage of any of the state funds and grants or anything that would be out there based on that, we have to conform to it. So it's the minutia of talking about the distances from, one side of the property setback to the other. It's basically, that's what we're in right now, is making sure we conform to that, making sure we conform to any structures that would be somebody who want to build, convert their garage into an apartment kind of thing. That was the hope for the state for housing density, to be able to take advantage of some of those spaces and build more housing in it. And they have very specific regulations, or I guess zoning stuff that they put together that we need to make sure we accommodate in our zoning side. So what we're doing now, I call it a de minimis update, because all we're doing is going through it. We're trying to remove things that are confusing and that are duplicated and simplify it at this point, and then add the state requirements to it. And then we're going to go ahead and put that out to the public, and everybody have their input, make changes if we need to, make revisions that we need to. It'll then be put forward to the select board, who will then have a public meeting for people to also give input to. And then the select board would then at that point approve it. If they don't, it comes back here and we start fixing the changes and go round and round with it. We can't really start the town plan until we finish that. And what's the notification that Jason could probably, Jason, what's the time frame of notification for our zoning updates? We have to have, before we have the public meeting, is it 30 days notification?
So it's 15 actually. Town plan's 30,
That's right.
and zoning's 15.
Okay. So we have, whatever we do when we're ready for it, we have to, we have a 15-day period to make sure the word gets out there. And we also have to obviously pick a date that works in that 15 days. So that's kind of what we're working on now. Mike?
Once you adopt it, isn't there a 30-day appeal period?
There is.
Jason?
It takes 21 days to become effective after you adopt a zoning bylaw. And there is something, I'd have to refresh my memory to be honest about whether there's an appeal and what that looks like. But yeah, there's a lag between when you adopt it and when it becomes effective.
Yeah, I think it's 21 days for the appeal period.
That's right.
So they're talking about two different things here. One is the zoning.
Completely different
The
thing.
other is the town plan.
The zoning, we are plugging in what the state tells us to plug
That's
in.
the 15-day.
And that's the 15-day wait warning of a meeting for public input. But then look at the changes. Now, the irony is we're not really changing anything in it that would be kind of an option thing for us. We could turn it down, but the state's going to say, you got to do it, or you're not going to get all these grants. And then they get more punitive the time you go on, saying, well, not only we take these away, we can also take those away. So it's like, it's Vermont. The state of Vermont controls 90% of what towns do. And there's nothing any of us can do about it because it all comes from the state. But we have to go through the process individually to generate all of these things, which takes time, takes money, and it's duplicated in every single town, which kind of to me doesn't make a lot of sense. We have some leeway because of the character of a neighborhood to say, well, we have a range of what we can play with, of what setbacks should be and what kind of things should be done with the lots. I don't know if you guys have driven around Windsor very much. I don't see a bunch of open empty lots for building on around here. So it's not really going to affect us that much. What it will affect is somebody who wants to create more housing on their existing property where, I don't know, some of them were zoned to where it would be a single family and now you can have, what is it, 3 apartments in the same footprint? I don't think it's 4.
Depends on the district. Yeah, we have multi-family. We have.
Yeah, but we had some that you couldn't put a multi in, and now you will, if the person wants to do it. And that's not new construction. That's somebody who has one of, like we all do. I mean, I have a huge house. Could easily have. It's got 6 bedrooms in it. I could easily have 2 apartments. It was separated at one time.
Is this downtown Windsor?
I live in Pine Street. Yeah.
That would probably come under this new.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So if anybody wanted to do that with their property, they could. And it's an accessory dwelling is what they call it. ADU is their acronym for it. As we know, in most government, everything is acronyms. And if you aren't on the end and know what it is, you have no idea what they're talking about. So it makes it easy for them to just do what they want. I insist when we use acronyms in this meeting, every time we go to use a new acronym during a meeting, I stop and say, what is that? So that we know what we're talking about. Because sometimes people don't want to raise their hand or embarrassed. Well, what's an ADU? Does everybody else know what an ADU is? You know, I don't think that's the right way to handle it. So we try to be as clear as we can. What do we have? Looks like we're hitting a quorum.
2 others.
Hey, Cliff, just back to what we were talking about before, the zoning becomes effective 21 days after adoption, unless there's a petition by 5% of the voters to basically challenge that within 20 days.
Okay. There you go, Mike.
Harry is on the call.
So Harry's here.
Yeah. Also David Harvey.
And I don't know that Mike's joined us, but this officially gives us a quorum. So did you start the recording or?
It's recording.
Okay. Oh, great. They got to hear all that diatribe. It is 6:15 and I'm going to call the meeting to order. And first on the agenda is public comments. We try to limit the comments to about 3 minutes to 5 minutes and stay on specific topics of what, are what we're trying to address in the meeting tonight. Is there any public comment? No? All righty. Is there any changes to the agenda? I don't have any. Not hearing any. So let's go on to approving the prior minutes. So either Harry or Brendan,
Motion to approve the prior minutes from Jan 8th.
okay. Harry, you're
Second.
okay. Any discussion? And how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the RFP update for applications for the town plan to revise it. As of today, we have one applicant who has sent us a request for a proposal and sent us a proposal. And we have one other person who expressed an interest, another Vermont consulting company, and they hopefully will get that to us by the end of the day tomorrow on the deadline. I don't know that there's a lot really to talk about that, but what we need to talk about is with relative to that, and this brings us back up to 5, is we really should consider doing a special meeting in the next couple of weeks to go ahead and pick a consultant rather than waiting until March to do that. How do you guys feel about that?
I'd be generally in favor. I just don't know if I will be able to attend.
Well, that will be the,
next 2 weeks of schedule, 3 weeks. Probably the closest date I do have open is the planning commission.
well, it doesn't have to be the same day of the week. And what we need to do is try to bounce some dates back and forth until we can find everybody as much as possible that can get together. Harry, what do you think?
I can be flexible.
Okay. Now, unfortunately, Mike's not here yet. But Mike is usually pretty flexible. So my thought is that we'll, let's try to communicate by email back and forth to come up with a date. I'm hoping, Ally, if you can find a date too that works sometime, let's just throw some dates around until we finally hit one that everybody can get together on, and then we'll go ahead on the meeting and do it and pick the consultant.
All right.
Mike?
On the previous times that the town plan was revised, have there been consultants involved?
Yes. Yeah, it's a normal thing to do. Because nobody sitting here has, and as commissioners, none of us are municipal planners. None of us are architects. None of us have any kind of degrees in engineering or anything else that would qualify. Not you, dear. I'm talking about the commissioners. You're not the commissioner. You're the one we lean on
Right.
constantly. So we're just the same as you guys. We're citizens. We live here. We want to, contribute to the town and make a contribution to make sure that we do the best that we can. But we have no expertise. And I would think that any town that voted on their own without expertise, this has to be reviewed by the state. And it would come flying back down here as fast as you can believe. So the idea is to do it once, have it successful, and complete it. And it's not a short process. The end date, it could be as far away as January 2028. That's as far as we can go. We're hoping to have it done, obviously, much sooner than that at the end of 27. But so that's kind of how it works. But we're not doing the town plan yet anyway. We have plenty of time to talk about it. I am now going to turn the meeting over to Jason briefly so that he can talk about the future land use and tier 1 designation map that we just got approved by the select board also.
Yeah, so this week's a blur, but I think it was last night, maybe the select board met, and or was it 2 nights ago? Yeah, no, it was last night.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and so they approved the resolution, which is good. But a summary of Act 181, for those in the room, Act 181 was passed by the legislature about a year and a half ago, and it changes Act 250, and it does a bunch of other things, and specifically it requires regional planning commissions. So I'm from the Mount Scottney Regional Commission. It requires us to update our regional plan, and the way we come up with our new future land use map needs to be done in close coordination with the town. We're going to be showing the downtown designation boundary, and that'll have sort of automatic state designation through our map from here on out. And we can create neighborhood designations, and there's some benefits to that. And so what we've done in Windsor is we have a draft with your downtown boundary unchanged. That's the same as it's always been. We have a proposed planned growth area surrounding that. Generally speaking, it's where there's water and sewer in the area surrounding the downtown. That would sort of get the quote unquote neighborhood designation from the state. And that would be synonymous with tier 1B or tier 1A for that matter. That gives the town Act 250 exemption for housing projects or potentially other things in that area. Tier 1A is sort of everything would be exempt, but the administrative burden is high, and so that probably doesn't make a lot of sense for Windsor right now. And so we're the select board approved tier 1B, which is a little easier, more manageable, and that would exempt housing projects in that planned growth area. The other thing we have is a proposed new village area in the prison site. And the whole idea with that is it simply gives the town some tools to redevelop it if and when the state gives up ownership of it. And I'm happy to talk about questions or any concerns that folks have.
My name is John McGovern. Are you saying that a new map has been approved by this board and by the select board? Is that what you're saying?
It's not done, but yes, the select board did sign off on the resolution.
You said yes, or it's not done.
Sort of is my answer. Sort of. It is.
Okay.
The map is not done. We can talk about it tonight. And we need to submit it to the state land use review board, and they need to approve it. And I'm confident that they're going to ask for changes. So I'm confident over the next couple of months, we will still be working on it and we can still make changes to it.
So that's not an answer to my question. The question is, did this board, the town of Windsor's planning commission, I want to use the term properly, approve a map that was then sent to the select board, which then approved that map, which fulfills all these new village, all these other areas that you're talking about? Yes or no?
I guess I would look to the planning commission to answer that one. We've talked about it.
What we talked about was a resolution to do a tier 1 designation for the town. You have to be one of them. It's a state thing that we have to do. The process is at this point in time that we have to, the only thing that we've essentially changed in the map, if you're concerned that the current lines of where everything is, that's pretty much the same. The only thing that's changed is the designation to change the prison property to be able to make it a little bit more feasible to do things with, which is a moot point. Because unless the state releases that, it's a battleground that doesn't even need to be looked at. But what it does is it makes it more flexible. So
But my question still, I'm looking for either it's been approved, this proposed maps of potential tier 1B areas to the state, submitted by the regional planning commissions, which have previously been approved by the town planning board and by the select board. Has that process been completed?
I don't think you would say completed. It's a gray area because we're in the county, in the zoning maps that the zoning that we're working on now is based on the current status of what everything is in the town of Windsor. Nothing changed. When we do the town plan, the maps will change. And this part is just designating, we have to designate what area, if I get this right, Jason, we have to determine what we want to be under the Act 250 rules. Do we want to be a 1B town, a 1A town? Do we want Act 250 for everything that's done and do nothing? And so if we don't do this, they'll decide for us. And 1B,
could we see a copy of this map? But apparently,
it's
no, I mean,
there.
they're distributed to the public,
Yeah.
not on private websites that no one sees.
but it's not on private.
Has this been approved by the planning? It's been approved, you voted?
What we did was Jason sent us information that he wanted to bring to the select board for the 1B designation. Okay, in there was no physical map that was actually saying that we're approving that physical map.
No. What?
Nothing from the floor.
I also have the map on the screen too, if that helps, and I can try to zoom in if that would be helpful.
But at what meeting did you vote for this?
The select board's the one who chooses.
The planning board
We
has to approve it, and that's not the select board.
at the last meeting, we didn't have this to vote on. We have a timeline from the state. And the only changes that I was told was being made is that we needed to do a designation for the prison property. And
But you're the elected officials, or not, you're appointed by elected officials, right? I mean, the planning commission isn't elected. You represent the town. And, I would think you would be interested in what the town's position is before it's sent to the select board, and you think the select board would want to know what the town's position is. As I understand it, there are 3 tier designations.
mhm,
1B, 2, and 3.
right,
So with the Mount Scottney Regional Planning Commission, because apparently came up with this map.
mhm.
None of us knew anything about it till today. Presented it to you. And you not sure if you voted for it or didn't vote
We
for
were
it.
sent, I was sent was a resolution to bring to the select board. And because there was no time for a planning commission to meet, the resolution was for the select board to determine whether we're going to be a 1B designation. We had previous meetings going on talking about what designation the town would be when we're working with Mark as our consultant on zoning. And then multiple meetings, and I don't remember which one it was. We have to go back. The question was, what should we be? And we had an approval vote to say that we should be a 1B.
Not the whole town.
Whole town?
No, 1B would pertain only to, the state needs to approve this, but only to these proposed planned growth areas and village areas.
Right.
So where are they?
What's a new village? That's a new term.
Where did this term come from?
The term came from state law.
State law.
No, the term didn't come, I mean, I don't mean where did it generate? How did the town of Windsor get to adopt a new village somewhere in the town without anybody knowing this is going on?
So,
How did that happen?
And the thing they're saying.
so the town doesn't adopt this per se. This is the regional plan. As part of the regional plan update, we are trying to consult with our towns and its residents. So we have a draft proposed future land use map that is on the screen, and there's a paper copy in the room. If there are questions, concerns, or suggestions, I'm open to hearing them. So, we're following state law in terms of what is required of the regional plan, but we have some flexibility in how we draw it. And
So you say, I approve. Are you a member of the town planning committee and a member of the Mount Scottney Regional Planning, or what are you? What hat are you wearing?
I'm wearing my regional planning hat. I am not a member of the Windsor Planning Commission. I
I really, I mean, it's wonderful listening to you, but I'm interested in how our board votes the interests of Windsor. That's really what I'm interested in. Well, are you in favor of a new village outside of Windsor, outside of the downtown? In contradiction to all the plans that say development should be in downtown Windsor?
So
And was there a public discussion of this?
Cliff, you don't have to allow public comment. This is getting out of order.
Wait a minute.
Well, I don't want to be the one to cut it off. What I want to say is that this is a work in progress.
Total surprise.
Yeah, but why?
Anyway.
Why is it a shock?
Okay.
We need to designate something that conforms to the new state regulations up at the prison property. What is your suggestion? That we create something the state can turn down?
It's under Act 250 right now, isn't it? Anything can happen out there.
And the prison property should be.
Act 250 is being completely revised. Act 250 won't, as you know it, will not exist by this time next year.
As
They're doing meetings on it right now.
With all due
There was a
respect,
public meeting here about the new Act 250.
Chairman, with all due respect, the Act 250 still exists. These are amendments to it. And in the amendment process, it allowed some municipalities to pick certain areas as tier 1 or tier 1B or tier 3 for that matter. It could have been, I mean, in our view, that's a close to an environmentally sensitive area.
I can't hear you.
is it the whole?
Well, at this point, I can't answer all those questions.
Yeah, anyway,
And-
we're just shocked by this.
And I think I'm okay, again, I'm not an expert.
No, I'm not.
And I do know that if I start feeling the pressure back, like I'm doing something to hurt the town of Windsor, there's a simple solution. We could resign. And one of you guys could come in and deal with this, but you don't want to. And what you want to do is come back to us and start hammering on us. If we're following the process and the advice of the Regional Planning Commission. The Regional Planning Commission is over us, okay? We answer to them and they answer back, and they answer to the state.
No, the state answers to us, and the prison property is a tier 3.
The state doesn't answer to us. Let's stop it right there. That is not true. Okay, go and look at what kind of government we have. We have to conform to what the state tells us that we're allowed to do as a town. Now, we're in the process of trying to move forward to get the zoning to conform to the new state regulations. Nothing we're coming up with. We didn't create these things.
The state has regulation for tier 3. Prison property is tier 3, in my opinion. And it's in the town of Windsor, so the town of Windsor.
Okay, let's stop right there. Jason, is the prison property considered tier 3 right now?
there is no tier 3 at this point in time. The state is currently coming up with rules for tier 3.
Exactly. So you need to have, if you're jumping to a conclusion, you need to know what the conclusion is. It's a complicated thing,
You're saying that's what we think.
but it's not true.
Well, could I say that I have an article here in Vermont Public Television. It says, and this is either true or it isn't, some municipalities that qualified for tier 1B area
Talking.
have chosen not to opt in to the Act 250 exemption.
True.
So you could have voted no. Correct?
Cliff, this isn't a free for all. You don't have to. We have to conduct our business here. You don't have to just engage in a free form conversation.
Okay. And I think the question that you want to bear needs to be discussed at another time, because we're here to try to move on forward with the zoning that we're trying to work on. And this was something that came from the state to us. If you don't like it, you have state representatives and senators that you can talk to. You could have also come to the Act 250 meeting that was held in this room a month or so ago. And that would have answered questions. And there's more information. Mike, I'm not taking any more questions right now. We have to move on. And everything you're asking us about and accusing us as if we're trying to do something to hurt the town makes no sense. Now, if you're saying that you feel that we should be an Act 250 town and we should prevent all development from happening in town, you have the right to feel that.
Keep on, anyway.
It pretty much does. And that's why we are where we are, because there's no housing in Vermont because of Act 250. I don't want to debate it.
Repeal Act 250.
I have a point of order.
I'm not going to allow it. We need
You have
to.
no choice. Point of order stops everything.
Okay, Mike, what's your point of order?
I wanted to say that I'm alarmed by someone suggesting that public comments would be prohibited. And I'd like to know who that is.
I'd like to know who said that
I'm
too.
going to contact the Secretary of State to discuss it. I'll talk to Jenny Cross.
This meeting is becoming completely unproductive. I'm about ready to call it. Because we have business we're trying to get done to conform with the state. And right now, we're just being argumentative.
Who is it?
Nobody said that. You guys have had plenty of public comment while we're talking, and Harry's basically saying, we don't need to keep going on this, we should move on. We just had a big dialogue for 15 minutes. What public comment was disallowed?
No, I'm saying he suggested that they be.
Oh, that's fine, maybe he's wrong.
It's not.
You don't need to go,
It's not fine, it's illegal.
Mike. Go take it up with whoever you have to take it up with then. If you think we did something illegal. Okay? Because I'm getting upset because this is getting ridiculous.
Can I just say something? Can we not let this go into the gutter? You know,
I agree.
it would be nice if we could all try and work this out. All we're saying is we'd like a little more transparency.
It's just transparent to get, we have had multiple meetings. We've been meeting for months on this and nobody's come to them. And nobody's probably watched them. And so now you're coming in saying, what are you doing? Well, it's been doing it. We've been doing it for 6 months.
Not saying what are you doing, but I think maybe,
Nobody's come to the meeting.
no, I guess we weren't paying enough attention.
But what were we going to change?
I think we'd just like to be a little more included and not suddenly hear that there's going to be a village up in the prison.
It's not going to be a village. It's a village designation, which allows housing along with our small businesses to be able to develop in that area for walking. That's what it means. It's not like we're starting a West Windsor. Now we're going to have a prison Windsor. That's not what it is. It's a designation saying that it's a walkable area, that the services and anything that might be built there. If you're going to have a park, you can walk to it. If you're going to do, it's a walkable area. It's a designation. Apparently, you haven't looked at what 1B actually means. A village designation means to be upset about it. It's a good thing. It means they're not going to build an industrial facility up there because you can't in that designation. It's going to limit the scope to being primarily residential. And my understanding is that's what everybody says they want. I've been getting feedback. All of it has been, we need more housing and it needs to be affordable. If we don't do this, fine. Don't complain about not having housing. Because developers will not touch it if they feel they don't have a chance of building something there.
So we think that it should be a tier 3 designation. And so if that's what we support, we need to go to the skateboard to argue for that?
Jason?
The State Land Use Review Board is making rules for what Tier 3 is going to be. They don't really exist at this point in time. The Grasslands Wildlife Management Area portion of the old prison is designated on our regional map as rural conservation. And we are currently showing the smaller prison site behind the barbed wire as a village area, because it gives tools that would enable housing to get built a little easier. And if there are comments on that, I'm more than happy to field those.
How many houses?
There's no number.
That would be determined by a developer or a development that would come in and make a proposal to the town that would then go through the process for the town to look at it, do design review, and decide whether it's something we want there.
But don't you think it should be compatible with what's outside?
That would be the discussion you would happen when a developer brought your proposal.
Good.
I mean, it's all we're doing.
250 allows that. Why would you exempt that area basically from much of Act 250? That's all we're saying.
Because
if anything, it should be under some of
the governor and your representatives are coming up with these tiers to try to take properties and land in other areas that have not been developed and turn it into something productive housing wise. And if you did, no.
Downtown. Yes, it is. It's overwhelmingly downtown. And to create a new downtown outside of Windsor is contrary.
We're not, who said that?
Well, you call it a little new village, whatever. I mean, it's another further cannibalization of downtown Windsor. It is destructive of downtown Windsor. It is not in the interest of downtown Windsor. I sit on the Development Review Board. We're constantly getting complaints about the development that was allowed outside of Windsor, Simon Pierce, which I think is great, Simon Pierce. But the complaint is downtown Windsor is getting hollowed out. And here we are encouraging that. And all I'm saying is we thought we would have a chance to participate in the process that brought that Tier 1B into effect, where that would be, and maybe expect hook to Tier 3. Instead, we arrive at the meeting and it seems like it's a done deal. So that's all. It's a shock. That's all.
Well, that's because it's been going on for 6 months.
Yep. We've done our job.
And nobody had, and
But now we are awake, sir.
that's fine. And so I think the question is, what the discussion is about the prison is kind of not irrelevant. The designation, what you want, what you're saying is that you want to make sure that even a development proposal can't go there.
What?
No.
No.
Then what do you?
Act 250 doesn't say no.
No, what it does is it causes so much expense and the risk on a developer to do it.
Protecting interests that are around it, like a wildlife management area, like a stream.
We already have that.
Like sir, you don't really, I'm sorry, but you must familiarize yourself more with that site. There are sensitive areas right next to where it could be development, where there shouldn't be development, and those would be protected under an Act 250 process. And we don't like to see that process weakened up there. We think, many of us think it should be strengthened there, not weakened. And we got caught.
Well, I don't know where I'll be honest with you. I really don't know where we go from here. All I know is I've been following the advice of the Regional Planning Commission
I'm not
and following other people's advices and listening to the residents of the town that almost everybody I talk to say, we need more housing. And a lot of them say, what's going on with the prison property? How come we're not putting any housing up there? And if you're a group that feels we shouldn't have housing, that's 100% you're right.
No, it's not true. That's not my feeling. There's lots of places in Windsor that need to be developed. We've talked to developers who have talked about sites that are empty, they're ideal for it. No, it's talking about that. And this place, which has a wildlife management area, which is a huge asset, why do something that might hurt that and destroy that asset? And that's all Environmental Act 250 would protect. So we don't want to weaken it out there. We want to strengthen it.
You know, I don't know where your next
Yeah.
recourse or where to go. All I'm doing is following advice that we're supposed to, and we're trying to conform to what the state has told us we have to conform
And
to.
I appreciate.
And I don't want to keep debating it because it's not right to debate it, because you have a preparation of an idea and a scope of what you want there. And you have a knowledge of and a history of saying we have a certain way we want it to be. And I'm just saying that you have the right to do that. And there will be a time and a place. And right now, wait, let me finish. Right now, there is zero possibility of anything happening there. And we just wasted half our meeting talking about something that as of now, the state will never let us touch.
Explain that we don't come to these meetings. Now we're here. And so
And
we want to speak, and I want to end by this note, and I want to end with this. I compliment you and the other members of this, it's a voluntary board, coming out on a Thursday night in the cold, working for the town of Windsor, and I respect you, but I hope you'll respect us and why I feel we're caught napping. Maybe it's our fault, okay?
And what you make me feel like you're putting us between a rock and a hard place. We have the regional planning board, we have the state, who your legislatures and the governor have passed new laws, zoning laws. And they have told us, you don't have a question on it. You have to revise your laws to conform. That's our job right now. And if you believe the laws that we're trying to revise them to are wrong to revise them that way, then that's a different issue. But that's not an issue that we can change. That you're talking to the wrong people, and right now, all I'm trying to do is make sure that we can get the zoning stuff finished, which we've been working on for 6 or 8 months constantly. And recently just finally got a document from the state that actually explains everything in detail as to how they want the setbacks and everything done to conform, when we're trying to figure them out on our own, which I think is wrong. And also with the help of the Regional Planning Commission. And the Regional Planning Commission has made it clear to us that here's all the different tiers and regulations that we can do. The one that seems to be the least intrusive with the most growth in the high density areas is 1B. And that's what we chose that, when we chose the neighborhood, and we have the downtown districts. These are all the things in the map. And that's all the stuff that's been there. And the changes that we're making is not the lines in the map. We're changing what you can do with a property that's existing there, so that maybe some of the developers that you talked about trying to do some of these open spaces that could be developed may have an incentive to do it. Because it makes sense now, because before it didn't make sense. And that's why nobody as an investor will put money in it. Nobody's going to spend buildings started out at 1 point something million, ended up at 10 million downtown because all the stuff they went through. Okay, we're trying to make it so.
Can we just say the comment has been noted. Can we move on, please?
I agree. I think one more comment.
We don't need to read what has already been discussed in the legislature for 2 years now.
Right.
Let's see. I'm going to ask you, I just want a clarification. I think Jason was talking about the land in the grasslands, WMA, that's whatever, resource conservation or something to that effect, and then immediately jumped to wanting development within the fenced area. Is that correct? Within the fenced area? Was that a specification that you mentioned?
That is what I mentioned. I was trying to explain what is currently on our draft map. We have rural conservation in that wildlife management area, and the portion where the prison is, and the fencing that is proposed right now is a village area.
Okay, so that's prison property is controlled by the Department of Buildings and General Services. It's 118 acres. The area within the fence is substantially less than 20. So what about the other 100 acres that is commonly referred to as the prison property that's not within the fence?
You know what? I don't know. I'll have to look at that, to be honest with you. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but we'll look into
Okay,
that.
but the basic idea is that uh, the new village area or whatever the village area in your mind is specifically within the currently existing fence. Is that correct?
I might need to double check some of, how I said that and what our map actually shows, but the intention is to allow for some tools for the town of Windsor to encourage some housing development in the prison site.
Okay, so it's completely uncertain as to whether it's confined to the area within the fence or includes the entire 118-acre prison site.
It doesn't include that. Some of it's set aside already, right, Jason? It's conservation area?
Yeah, I mean, we're not touching or we shouldn't touch the conservation area. I'm going to feel better if we go back tomorrow or Monday and just double check what's on the map, that, and make sure that is as it should be, I guess is how I'll put it. We'll have to double check.
Question.
We got to get on to the
The
parameter.
question is, has the prison been mentioned in previous planning commission agendas? And if so, on what agendas? In other words, you're saying we should come to these meetings, but has that been on the agenda? And if so, which agendas?
The prison specifically hasn't been mentioned, just like the downtown hasn't been mentioned, just like the high density areas haven't been mentioned, the low density housing areas haven't been mentioned. It is just like it is mentioned now, zoning bylaw amendments.
No, but it
And
has,
that includes all of
it
that,
has prison on it. That's why we're here, but
because we had to do the 1B designations, and in order to do that, we had a couple of choices. Both of them were going to be housing for there.
so as far as you know, it's not on the agenda.
Specifically, no.
Okay.
No, because it was part of the discussion, along with the part of the discussion of downtown, and we spent a lot of time talking about the rural areas outside of the town and
That's one of
the
the reasons.
setbacks and the lots.
That's one of the reasons we were caught off guard, just so you know.
Well, that's fine. I understand that. And I also think we have to be practical and realistic. And I think the reality is, everybody's upset because they're worried about what's going to happen with the present property. Here's my prediction. 10 years from now, everybody's going to be worried about what's going on with the present property. And what we're going to do is keep distracting ourselves and not get focused on what we can do here. We can't do anything there. We can do a lot in the rest of the town and the other areas.
Correct.
And if we keep distracting about that, we're going to get nowhere. We have to just end this because we are doing nothing at the present property.
Maybe just take that out.
The designation,
Take that out of the agenda, the designation, take it out.
we have to designate it, and it's already been decided. It's going to be
You
the
don't need to designate every part of the town as a tier 1B. You don't. Well, if you're planning, but I'm Scotty fellow said that, I don't think he would say that.
It's not all 1B because we have commercial areas, we have other
He's
areas.
taking his head, so I'm correct.
Jason, could you address that? And then we have to move on.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked about this before. The tier 1B is only what is proposed on the map as the quote unquote planned growth area in downtown Windsor, and this village area at the prison site. That is it. The rest of the town would be tier B or tier 2. That would be Act 250 status quo. Until tier 3 rules come into play, and then some portion of town will be tier 3, but we don't know where or what that will be at this point in time.
And the prison property could have been tier 2.
The grasslands will be tier 2 at this
Oh,
point.
no, it could have been tier 2. It doesn't have to be tier 1B, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we can craft the map how we want it to be. Yes.
That's right. That's correct. That's the answer. Doesn't have to be.
Then, I mean, as of right now, the board has gone through the select board and has approved it to be 1B. And I think if you want to dispute that or change that, then I think
Maybe go back to the select board.
maybe, but I think at the same time, I think the problem is at the same time, the select board's gonna feel the same way I feel. We are getting a lot of pressure to be able to, if we can reverse the playing field and say, state of Vermont, you guys want housing. You guys want affordable properties. We also want market housing available to people who live outside of our community, bring new people in. Everybody complains the taxes are too high. You're not gonna get any money unless you build some houses or other properties to lower and divide the tax base. Okay? That's what I've been hearing. That's what I've heard when I've been on the budget committee. And that's what most people in the town are telling me. Now, I understand you guys don't agree with it, and that's fine. But the reality is, what's that?
We agree with that. We just don't think.
No, and when it comes to the discussion of the prison, most people feel that that it should have housing that's put in there that's mixed housing for residential, multi.
People I talk to.
Well, then that's fine. And guess what? When it's,
Most of the people, anyway, I don't need to get into an argument.
everybody talks about the prison property, and there's people who want to do nothing with it, and there's people who want to develop it. As of right now, that's not us to determine. That's not our job. That's not what we're here to do. What we're here to do is to conform to the new state regulations and make as much opportunity for housing as possible. That is what those state regulations goals are. And that's,
But it didn't need to be tier 1B.
well, it is. Because it already got passed. So at this point, I don't know what to tell you,
Thank you, sir.
okay? And I'm not trying to be, I'm
I appreciate what you're
I'm
trying.
trying to have as much patience and try to be as calm as possible, but I feel like we've spent 6 months working on this, and then you guys come in and say, I want you to get rid of all of it.
You never had it on the agenda.
The town is on the
You
agenda
never had the prison.
because it's part of the town of Windsor.
I think, anyway.
That's a difference in how we look at it. If I look at it this way, if we build housing in the prison property, it's going to affect the tax base of Windsor.
But that's a discussion about what should go there and what shouldn't.
That's right.
This is a process, but where you're amending the town plan or the town map. And I don't think anybody in town knew what was going on. I think.
Well, as Jason said, there's plenty of time still to bring it up. If you have enough people and you want to discuss it and bring it up and say that we need to change that back, then I think that's your group to do.
I have a question. So it's very noble, to prioritize the environment over the people, but if you have any other solutions, like you're favoring the environment and the wildlife, which is, Vermont is really rich in that. So what other solution, like to sustainability, it's not only environment, it's the three pillars of people, the economy, and the environment. So how are you balancing that? You're rejecting any new, like,
The downtown area has acres upon acres of open land downtown that's not being utilized. And I doubt that it's been properly site assessed.
Where are you talking about? I'm totally confused.
On the railroad tracks.
That's all flood zone, and a lot of it has chemical problems down there, so that's.
That's what I've heard, chemical contamination, but has an actual site assessment been done there?
Yes, and you can find it online, and it shows where it was done, and it's also been designated, it's in a floodplain. And so it's there, if you were a developer and you had $5 million to spend, would you want to go in someplace where FEMA's going to be all over you and you're going to have to buy flood insurance, you're going to have to do all these other regulations? Or would you spend your $5 million someplace where it's done?
Just asking if the downtown area, the open area downtown is truly factually based, all floodplain and all contaminated.
Those maps are right available. When they built the skateboard park down there, that's fairly high up and close. It's right by the Windsor Station, right? That land's contaminated. And it had to be encapsulated to build to build that skate park. So think that and then think further down. Further down, it's going to get worse, right? Well, that's where all the factories were.
Yeah.
So it has to get worse. The creosote and all the treatment, all the stuff that was going on in the lumber yards. for there. And the drainage goes towards the river. So just, it's easy to extrapolate. If there's a bunch of chemicals, where are they flowing? That whole area has been surveyed. A lot of it hadn't been 100% tested because there's no real reason to do it. There's already too much of it is going to be problematic, and no developer would ever touch it. Unless,
They are not allowed to do anything within the floodplain. And the state, for your information, they are adding more restrictions within the river corridors
Mary's right.
and the floodplain. So all the properties within the river corridors are now restricted. They are also adding some restrictions on like the steep levels and lands. So more restrictions will apply. This is the chance to at least secure an opportunity for development, but it's not granted as well.
So I'm gonna say that we have to stop now. We have spent 100% of our meeting on this.
Thank you.
And we have things that we're supposed to have done that need to be done on specific timelines that we're gonna run into a problem with because we don't have them done. And I think there's a lot of good points, and I'm glad you brought up that property because at least you're observing, you're saying, oh, maybe we could do something here, maybe we could do something there.
Well, it sounds
And I
like
think,
you
and I think,
can, so that I'm satisfied with your answer.
but I think thinking that way, I'm trying to say it's a state of mind.
Yeah.
And that's the state of mind we need. And not just for the downtown, for everywhere, because residentials don't only happen in downtown, and we have some land downtown and it's owned by private owners that aren't going to ever do anything with it. We don't have any opportunity to do anything there. So we have to look to we're not making anything happen. We're making opportunities happen. Proposals would come before the town. You would see what anybody's going to do. And so I think, and at that point in time, you say, this is outrageous. I'm totally adamant and opposed. And we're going to march in the streets with candlestick. Go ahead. That's what this country's supposed to be all about. At this point, we're just saying we're trying to conform to the state laws. And we're trying to do what the state asked us to do, is find more opportunities to add more housing. And that's the laws that were passed. And so we have to stop the discussion now because we have to move on to those bylaw amendments that we're actually trying to get done so that we can get onto the town plan, which we're supposed to start in April or May. We can get this finished up. So I think we've had plenty of very vibrant discussion. And I appreciate what you guys are saying, and I wish you were here before.
So do we.
To say that we don't want to change the designation up there. And that would have been an interesting discussions on their own, because I think at that point in time, I'd probably say we should have put it on the town vote then, if people wanted to do it. But it's too late to do that, and we have to move on with what we are. So that's where we are. So as far as the zoning bylaw amendments, Jason, is there anything else you'd like to add on the 1B designation in the map? We do have the map here. The map's going to be available. It was just done, okay, to conform, because the select board just approved it last night. And I think as you can see, it's not like we're doing anything outrageous. Are you done with what you need to report on, Jason?
I am good. Cliff, just please, you and the audience just know that the regional plan's updated every 8 years and we can always amend it. So if, we decide something needs to get changed, it can get changed.
Okay. So at this point, Jesus, turn. All right, Holly, I think I'm going to toss this over to you let's try to get what we can get done on the zoning amendments for the changes that you put in.
Let me just share screen. So where do we stop last time? I continued to work on the document, and I reviewed the rest of the sections. Mainly, I looked into the state and the documents that Nick has shared to update the definitions and to look into what we actually are missing. I've added like the new terms that are taking place, like the river corridors. I've updated the building coverage and the lot coverage based on the CPR planning manual. From what I've seen, we meet most of the regulations. We're in line with them. I think if you have any questions, if you had the chance to review the document, or if you have any questions, I'm ready to answer.
In the generality, if we, with this last provision, as of tonight, does this bring us pretty much conforming to what we need to do on the state side?
Not 100%, but yeah, up to a certain limit, yes. But we cannot bring all the properties into conformity.
Right.
But we have to meet certain standards, like what the fire department could request, and all of the safety measures are met now. So the setbacks actually are the minimum that we could allow, including the parking spaces, the setbacks, and everything. So do you have any questions on the bylaws? Did you have the chance to review? There's still stuff to come up.
Trying to refocus here.
Yeah. As for the definitions, I just added a note that if we missed any definition, our reference is the state definition, and if there is a conflict, our reference is the state statutes. So I think this will cover any gaps or any missed terminologies that we did not include.
Harry, have you had a chance to really kind of look through the changes? And
So all the dimensional standards that were discussed previously have been incorporated now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have any further commentary on it.
Mike?
Nothing at this moment.
Brendan? The floor is yours.
Nothing to add.
I mean, most of my comments besides the dimensional standards were related to other stuff that we decided not to, try to take any action on in this
Right.
revision. So,
Right. Right, because we want to keep this to a minimum so we're not distracted with it, because the town plan more than likely will come up with some things that may have us revisit the zoning anyway, after we get a lot of, the public's input and talk about what we want to be doing in certain areas. So, so the next step of this is
We need to refine the document further, just go through it. If there are any conflicts within different sections, just to double check everything. I can share a final revision of it for you all to review before we move on to the public hearings.
Okay. And I think we'll find some time where we can at least get a quorum this month to be able to pick our consultant at that time. If we could take a look at that, then we could really, because we have public hearing planning and we can't really do that until we have this ready to go, because we need 15-day warning for that. We don't want to conflict with the election. So what are we thinking would be a reasonable time frame? End of March?
I suggest that we give ourselves another 1 or 2 meetings just to
Right.
finalize everything.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm thinking. It's either end of March or sometime in April.
April.
Yeah.
Suggest April or the first.
So we'll warn a public meeting and then
May.
and then everybody will have a copy of the revised zoning that we've done up to this point for them to look at, read, review, and give us whatever constructive criticism and input they desire to have.
There is a process that we should follow. It's not only just to warn the public hearing. We need also to share the document with the abutting towns and, follow the process as it should be without missing any part.
Is Jason still with us?
We'll need to vote at whenever the next meeting or whenever we're ready to advance the draft to hearing before we go ahead and warn it.
Right. I'm just trying to look at the calendar and saying that. So the reality is we should probably look at doing it in our March meeting if we can, to vote on it, if everybody's happy. We're going to have one other meeting in February. When it is, I really don't know, because we've got to try to figure out when all of us can get together so that we can at least get the Regional Planning Commission coming back with us. And also we still have some hours, I think, that from the Regional Planning Commission that we negotiated with them, that helping us doing zoning projects that can help us with the next part of it too, if we need it. Okay. So I think the next step is for us to kind of bounce some dates back and forth between us until we land on a date that works for all of us. For this meeting, we only need 48 hours, I believe. So if we could do it sooner, if that date pops up, fine. If not, but I think we need to get it done before our next, and give us time to be ready for our next meeting in the beginning, second week of March there, to hopefully advance the plan at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do 2 weeks from today if that's an option for others.
I'm open. Mikey?
So the 26th.
Oh, now you want a calendar.
And this is specifically to talk about what?
This is to talk about the RFPs that will have been submitted and choose a consultant for the town plan, because that'll get them working on that. Also, we can hopefully at that point, we'll have the final review that Holly has done for us.
I cannot do this date.
Hmm?
I cannot do the 26th because this is the last meeting that I'm doing with Buckingham. I
Okay,
cannot miss that. So maybe a week later or earlier or another day could be
or I mean, it doesn't matter to me which.
Tuesday.
25th is select board.
24th.
24th, is there anything on the 24th? For anybody? Can we do that, or the 23rd even? I'd prefer 24th.
I think we have a select board forum for Windsor on Air on the 24th. And I think it's in that room.
On Wednesday, right?
Wednesday's the select board meeting.
Let me double check the calendar.
What's the 27th, that Friday?
Can I just throw out there, we can leave this until the beginning of next month's meeting. It probably won't be a lengthy selection process. So we could just.
It doesn't appear to be.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine we may only have one bid to choose from. And even if we have two, if we keep to a tight agenda, we can do that at the top of the meeting. And
Well,
then-
I'll throw out one more date, Harry, and see if we can do it, and that will be the 23rd, Monday the 23rd.
I could do that.
What time? 6?
You can adjust the time to whatever we feel
I
comfortable
just
with.
need to be done by 7. I can do 6 to 7.
I think I'm happy with 6, Brendan.
Yeah, that's good for me.
And Holly, that's good for you?
Works for me.
Okay, so let's meet on the 23rd with the goal to select our consultant and also do a quick, everybody hopefully will have a chance to read through the draft that Holly will have for us. And if we're happy with it, we'll go ahead and get the process going. If we need more time, we'll determine that then. And then go from there. So let's set that date as the 23rd at 6.
Sorry, Cliff, can you just say the second part again? Are you expecting to vote to go to hearing at this meeting?
I'm saying we'll have, I don't know that we're necessarily going to vote to go to hearing at the meeting. We're going to get the final rundown from Holly here on everything to look at it. And if there's any things that we need for her to make adjustments, we need to let her know so that when we do our March meeting 2 weeks later or so, that's when I think we need to be voting for it to go to hearing if we can.
Okay. Yep.
But I don't want us to lose that time just talking about the consultant when we can actually get a little couple of weeks ahead of the game on looking at the final revisions that Hallie's going to have for it.
Yep. Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to everybody? Okay. That's what we'll do. Any other business? I don't have any. You guys have any?
I have a question. Will that be available to the public to be able to read the document that, the town plan that you're putting together?
We're not doing a town plan. We're revising the zoning to the state laws. And
Okay.
that is going to be, that's the whole purpose of the 15 days. When we go to the point where we're going to set the meeting, the meeting is for the public to come and review it, and they'll have 15 days to have the plan to be able to read over it themselves. The zoning, that is, the zoning plan. I mean, that's not the town plan. And see
Right,
the
sorry about
changes.
that.
And if they'd like to make, that's the whole purpose of that meeting, is for you guys to come and make whatever comments you want about decisions you think we did right or what was screwed up. So, and what we can change and what we can't change. Because again, this is a de minimis zoning update, i.e. conforming to the new state laws. We're not creating anything here. We're just conforming to the law. That's all we're doing.
Sounds
And
good.
And
Sounds
that
good.
and that's going to make available when done grants and other money that will be available to be able to help people who may want to build an accessory dwelling unit and get 50 grand from the state to help them. So right now they can't. So
That's a question.
let's do one brief session and then we're going to adjourn. Go ahead.
So I won't mention the P word. Does the RFP for the consultant include some format to try and generate jobs for the centre or downtown Windsor?
The RFP for the consultant is to advise and to help us manage the process of developing a new town plan. So it's to only focus on that, and the town plan should have a lot of involvement from the people of the town. We're hoping that we'll have a packed room every time we're working on it so that everybody has a chance to read what we've done and discuss what we're moving into, so that we don't run into what we're running in tonight, everybody feeling that you've been, shocked with some new stuff that really to us hasn't been new. That's why it surprised the hell out of me. We've been working on it now. So the whole town plan is going to go through at that point in time, and that's when a lot of things can be determined. So
I feel that downtown's hurting a little bit, and if we can get more commercial, it could be services or it could be anything.
that's a wonderful discussion for us to have, because I think you need to understand the dynamics of the landowners down there and the building owners.
Oh,
If you want to know why there's nothing going on in downtown Windsor, there's a problem. So-
Have the consultants
No,
have an opinion or what?
no, they're a consultant's here to guide us through the process. We're the ones who're supposed to know the vision for ourselves. And if the vision is part of the town plan, we want to create a greater emphasis on doing more for business and jobs downtown, then we can have that in there. I don't know how the city can, town of Windsor can actually do it, because those are privately owned properties. But I don't want to get another big discussion. I appreciate the question. To clarify, this is only our consultant to help us with the process of writing a professional town plan with wonderful graphics and visuals and everything that goes on, and make sure we've conformed to all of the laws that we have to conform to make the town plan be approved by the state. So,
there has one more question.
okay.
Is the town plan, is it a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 8-year?
All of them are 8. Town plans, it's a state thing. You're gonna hear those words a lot. It's a state thing. We're just doing what we're told to do. But it's our vision. The state doesn't tell you what your vision is for your town. But they do have a right to not approve it. So,
All righty.
all right. Any commission comments? I usually don't do this, but in tonight's lively meeting, I just don't know if anybody, since I ended up doing all the talking. Is everybody have anything they want to say for the commissioners?
I do.
You're not a
And-
commissioner. Excuse me, you're not a commissioner.
Oh, I thought you said beside.
No. We have public comments at the beginning of the meeting. The board, there is no
Okay.
public comments technically now. That we've
I'll
done
save them
that.
I'll save them for next time.
Great. Harry, any closing statement?
I have no closing statement.
Brendan,
Just appreciate people putting their time in today. So even during tough conversations, I appreciate seeing people active in their community. So thank you all.
Mike?
Yeah, just did it what Brendan said. Keep coming back.
Yeah. And hopefully I didn't push back on anybody, but I feel we have to keep things directed. But I'm excited to see that we have people here. I hope our next meeting isn't going to be like the last ones, where usually there's maybe one person, but most of it, they have a question about something specific and then they leave. But we've had a number of people recently that have been coming and seem to really want to get more interested. We do have spaces. The planning commission by the state law has to have, for us, minimum 4, which is where we are now. If any of us quit, we can't do anything. It's done until we get somebody else on the commission. Because it will not meet the requirements for a quorum, which at that point in time would be 2. So the other thing is that you can have up to 9 people on a planning commission. Now, I don't know how productive it can get, because we may spend our whole time, with a food fight or something. But, and there's nothing wrong with political discourse, but the reality is in the state's wisdom, you can have up to 9 people. And if there's any point in time where a planning commission should have more people on it, is when you're doing a town plan. So bear that in mind. And if you're concerned about the things like the prison property and everything else, if you have a seat at the table, you have a say. Otherwise, you're a public comment. The board can respect your comment, but it doesn't have to do it.
How does that process work?
It's very simple. You submit a letter to the select board. We ask that you come to the meeting. I ask that you at least understand what the job is, that you do a little research. Coming to the meeting is good, but understanding that a lot of this is boring stuff, talking about how many feet we can be set back from the front of the road and all of these other things that are going on with it. these are the things that the planning commission actually works with them. For the town plan, it's a little bit more, because we're now talking about the vision of things, we're talking about the maps of the town. It would give you a very clear understanding of what opportunities, what there are in Windsor and what there's not. And I think you'd see very, very quickly, there's not a lot left in Windsor that can be dealt with. Most of the Windsor land is in the Escutney State Park. That's as far as land area goes. And the only lands and areas that are left to develop, many of the ones that own a lot of acreage have decided to sign on for the tax breaks from the state with a commitment saying, I won't do anything if you pay me money. So that's kind of where we are. And you'd really see that once you got into working on it. So I encourage you, the next thing to do is understand what it is that we do and what we're going to do. And then you at that point in time, submit a letter to myself and the select board. And the select board is the one who chooses the commissioners. And that's how the process works. Okay. All right, hearing nothing else, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7:27. Close enough for me. Yeah, there you go.
Take an observation.
You can. May not be a great time, but what's your observation?
Sorry.
At the beginning, at one part of the meeting,
You say better for people to come and.
as an expert on everything that you
Right.
usually just volunteer. And that's good. That's good self-awareness. But you don't know about the expertise that might be in the audience that you don't have. And so when you have someone saying, shutting down public comment, you have the potential to lose.
That's not, okay, and I understood, and I'm gonna repeat that with you, Mike, but I know you like to. But what Harry was saying.
Tell me